1022-1091. I will serve as the hearing officer. Well, we're not gonna start right now. We'll stop. Called up the first matter on the docket, first and only matter, it's 2022-1091. And again, I am Kristen Love, and I will serve as the hearing officer in this matter. At this time, I'll ask the members of the board to state their names for the record.
George Johnson.
Dr. Renee Dotson.
Dr. Melissa King, nurse practitioner.
Lacey Gentry. Janelle Moody, RN.
Harley Walker.
Alvino Castillo.
And now I ask the attorney representing the board to state your name for the record.
Brandon Walker.
And is the licensee, Ms. Shaleria Palmer, present?
I am.
Ms. Palmer, are you represented by an attorney?
Not right now, no.
Because you're not represented by an attorney, I have some questions for you. Do you understand you have the right to have an attorney represent you during this hearing?
I do.
Do you understand that you have the right to set forth the argument in support of your appeal with attorney representation?
I do.
And understanding all of that, you wish to proceed with this appeal without an attorney?
I do.
Like I said, I understand we're here on an appeal from a decision of the board hearing panel. So before we give you your appeal, we have the opportunity to put forth your argument first as to why you feel that the board hearing panel's decision should be overturned. And then Mr. Walker, on behalf of the board, will have an opportunity to present his argument for why that decision should be affirmed. And you both have 20 minutes.
Okay.
If you see, you can
Yes,
start.
ma'am, I am. Guys ready? Okay, my only appeal was not the decision of the board for the disciplinary actions. Never was that the appeal reason. It was the reason of the not being noticed correctly to come in here and to stand forth before you guys when I was sentenced with the board to do a fine and some classes. That was understood. The only thing to stop that was with COVID. So I called repeatedly, asked the board, what do I need to do? Well, we're working from home. No one's here. You can't mail it in. How do I pay this fine? Okay, I spoke with them and they said, well, you have to, since you have an attorney, which was Mr. Powell at the time, that they would have to speak with him. My attorney reached by email, which I did submit copies of the email that he did reach out to you guys, never got anything in return. So there's no way for me to have made the payment. I still have the money order receipts from the payments. I did have them. No way to pay them. During the time, Mr. Aaron, which was the person I was contacting with the board, and Wesley, I emailed them because during COVID, we were not, no one was in office. I'm calling, no one's getting there. So they're emailing us back and forth. And I was saying that you guys had mailed a notice to 274 Lighthouse Lane, which was my address at one point, which was in 2017, was updated. So I updated the address and I also sent them, said into further notice, please mail all correspondence from the nursing board to this address. The address was sent to them on July 22nd, 2020. I received letters at that address between the time of 2020 to 2022. Nowhere did I update the address, not in the the Gateway, anywhere else, take that off. I always set that in my mailing address. I update my other addresses, like, okay, if I move, I update my home address, but my mailing address stayed the same. So when I did not receive the notice, I had no way to even know I had a court appearance. When Ms. Duncan and Mr. Powell were talking, because Wesley said he could not speak to me, he was talking to the attorney, he was not updated. At that time, that was still my attorney. So having an attorney, he did not receive anything by mail. When I got sentenced to my fines and my the courses, I didn't receive that information till almost 7 months after you guys made the ruling in October. I didn't get that notice until May of 2021 via email. I never got it in certified mail. And that was only because Ms. Duncan called me and asked me, she told me I had to have a ASP. And I'm like, I didn't know anything about this because we never received it. So during that time, I had just had a car accident. I had a broken spine. I submitted all that stuff. I wasn't physically able to even come to Mississippi because I had the wreck in Georgia. After that, and when I got this one, I mean, when she sent it to me, it was in May, and she told me I had 90 days to complete it. I broke my leg. And I did everything. I had the fine money. I had the course that was online. The only one I could not do was the ones that was a legal aspects of nursing, which I did speak with Ms. Kim, and she told me that they didn't even have any openings that would have been within the 90 days, that I would have had to wait till November. Okay, so I called the board. What am I supposed to do? You're gonna have to figure it out. I don't have anything. I had no help trying to figure out what am I supposed to do. Now, given that the sentence was light, and I don't ever want y'all to think that I took kindness for weakness. I did not. I had no other way to figure out what I need to do as a nurse. If I can't walk, I can't drive, I can't fly, because they wouldn't even, I had a back brace and everything. I can't even fly. I was in between the second and third surgery on my spine. How am I supposed to get here? And if I can't call, if my fines are not in the gateway where I can go in here and pay it with a card, they were never uploaded there. What am I supposed to do? And I have no explanation to what I was supposed to do then. I looked through the paperwork that Ms. Saltzman sent me. And every time I look at the address, it's like the address is where I update the address, they mail it to the previous address. These were never my addresses that are on file. The address is from 2020 State, Mississippi, state, the apartment number, everything was the same. I got letters there. It's like they mailed it to the address behind it every single time. No one can show me where they sent me anything from that 811 Forest that was returned. I didn't leave that apartment until May of 2023. And my only concern was when you guys did say, well, we haven't heard from her. They reached out to me a lot during email, by email. No one ever reached out to me. And the most important nursing court that I could have saying, hey, listen, we're going to revoke your license. No one reached out to me. My phone numbers, they did not call me. And I do have it where we've had correspondence previous times. We didn't get you by mail. So is this the correct address? No one called me. Not a single person. I updated it with you guys, with the disciplinary report, and to Ms. Greenlaw. I emailed. I have plenty of them where I have been corresponding, but when it was time for you guys to call me or email me, send me something, I got nothing. They said they noticed it in the paper. It was repeatedly said, okay, we did it Rankin County. If I had updated my address from Rankin County, which is in this paperwork saying it was updated, Rankin County, I wouldn't get your mail. I didn't even see one for Clarion Ledger, well, for Hinds County, Mississippi, from Jackson's newspaper. I saw something it said the lady was from Wisconsin. So I don't see anything where I would have known. And at the time when you guys were noticing me, again, I was in the hospital under care. I had human metapneumovirus, almost 7 weeks. No, that's why I didn't renew anything. I didn't send any driver's license. I was in the hospital. So I'm not saying that, oh no, I'm making every excuse. No, I have every right. When you guys made that ruling, that's the easiest thing that could have been done. Let me go ahead and pay this fine. Let me take these courses. But if I don't have anywhere to pay the fine, where was I supposed to send it? Because I called and she made sure, she said, we're working from home. If you mail, we will not get your mail. So I have to get with my compliance officer and see what they wanted me to do. No one ever put the fine in there. The only guy that ever put it in there is when I was paying for this appeal. He said, I gotta manually put it in there, and I paid it right then. If that was just a matter of, why haven't you paid it? No one asked me. Then the show calls here, and I never got that. Because if anyone would have came and asked me, why haven't you done this? I would have showed you in my own gateway. I cannot do it. It's not there. I cannot find it. I have letters from Ms. Kim saying it wasn't available for me at the time within the 90 days from what that it would have been due. It was nowhere available. So how was I supposed to do it? I just don't feel like I had enough resources, and asking the nursing board for help was not helping me. But you guys made the rules, so I gotta follow them as you made them. And if I don't have any way to do that, then how was I supposed to do it? And the board rejected the second one, so I don't know what else I can do. If this was a disciplinary action about something I have done as a nurse, and I've been a nurse since 2011, never got in any trouble. You guys have never had anything about me as a nurse, period. And I'm like, I'm doing everything I can. I don't feel like my court case is small. It was not. But at that time, it was something that I went to the court and asked, hey, listen, can we just go ahead and make a rule? Let's go ahead and do this, because accountability is everything. I dated someone, they did something wrong, I was there. Hey, I'm responsible. I'm fine with that. I accepted that. Even if the judge say we're not going to accept a guilty plea, I'm okay with accepting accountability for my action. If I had one day notice to have that done, it would have been done, but no one gave me the notice. I sent in every one of the things saying that even with the USPS, every time I updated the address, it was updated. I forwarded, I made sure it was straight. I made sure I went to the gateway, updated it. If you guys mail it, if I updated it in March and you mail it to something I had in October, then how am I supposed to get it if they're not gonna forward certified mail? They're not gonna do it, they're gonna return it. So I didn't get it.
Would you like to reserve some of your time to, give more argument after, Mr. Walker completes his argument?
Great. Thank you, Your Honor. Let me just first start by addressing that, the only thing that's relevant and can be considered by this panel, by this board, is anything that was from the original hearing where her license was revoked. All the emails between Wesley and previous counsel regarding her other board order are not relevant to the case and why she's charged and can't be considered. They weren't part of the original record. That's standing Mississippi law. I'll start by giving you just an overview of all the efforts that were made by board to contact Ms. Palmer and the numerous address changes that were made. And those are all listed in the brief, but I'll kind of give you an overview. On December 20th, 2022, the board sent by certified mail notice of hearing to a 310 Mount Zion Road in Georgia. That came back returned on January 10th, 2023. That same day, the board sent to a different address, 610 Compton Lane in Georgia. That came back returned, or failed to deliver and returned February 13th, 2023. So when we couldn't publish or couldn't get service through certified mail as the statute requires, we tried to publish. And first in Rankin County, because address had yet again changed, this time to a 274 Lighthouse Lane in Brandon, Mississippi. Before that publication had finished running, we had another address change. That address was to 811 Forest Avenue, this time in Jackson, Mississippi. So again, we published there. So that's 4 already. Then there was another change of address. I guess not surprised by the history. On April 11th, I'm sorry, on May 24th, 2023, the final order that reflected the decision that was issued, which revoked her license, which is what she's appealed, that was sent to another address that she had listed, which was 4368 Willow Run Drive, Jackson, Mississippi. She filed her notice of appeal, which stayed the discipline, so that revocation was stayed, which I stated is why we're here. After that was filed, the board counsel filed a motion to dismiss for failure to prosecute. And it was recommended that motion to dismiss that board counsel contacts, because Ms. Palmer indicated that she was represented by counsel previously. the motion to dismiss was denied and the board counsel was instructed to reach out to Mr. Powell to confirm that he did not, whether he represented Ms. Palmer. Mr. Powell confirmed that he did not in fact represent Ms. Palmer. So that turned out to be false. That kind of gets us where we are. Again, she's appealing that decision where she was revoked, where she did not show. And all those times I just mentioned, the times that the board tried to reach out and properly obtain service of process, and we did. So the first thing I want to talk about really is the standard. And I know most of y'all are familiar with this, but I'll run over it one more time. An appeal of an action by the board panel is limited. It's limited to a determination of whether that decision was supported by substantial evidence, whether it was arbitrary or capricious, whether it was beyond the power of the agency to make, or whether that decision violated some statutory or constitutional right. There's a rebuttable presumption that exists that's in favor of the agency, that the burden of proof is only appellant. Appellant being the challenging party. Now, the only thing, and she stated that the only thing she's challenging is service of process. She argues that she did not receive proper service process. She also stated to the board, she reached out numerous times and her calls were not returned. That's also not true. And that's also in the brief. I'll kind of briefly go over it in a minute. The first, I discussed this a while ago, but the statutory requirement for service is that we first try by certified mail. Service. I told you the times we tried personal or certified mail and they came back unreturned or undeliverable. The statute allows, if we can't serve process by certified mail, that we can publish in the newspaper of where our last known address is or where we know it to be. We tried that 2 times. And eventually got service. Now, as far as the communication goes, so by publishing 2 times in the 2 locations we had, we perfected service. That kills this argument right here by the law alone. There was comments made that she couldn't be reached, the board wouldn't help her, wouldn't contact her. Well, she signed an affidavit originally that was in lieu of her going to a show cause hearing. That affidavit was signed, or excuse me, on October 31st, 2022, it was presented to the board. And it was denied because the affidavit was referred back to legal for a show cause hearing. Now, the address we obtained to send that to was 610 Compton Lane in Georgia. That was not only confirmed by email, but it was also communicated through the compliance officer for her verbally. That's for that. So that's how we proof right there that we'll communicate. And because we had perfected service, as already stated, her hearing went forward on April 11th, 2023, as noticed in both the publications that we did in both Hines and Rain. She did not appear at the hearing, requested for it to be continued or rescheduled. And following that hearing, the board panel revoked her license. Now, y'all are aware that as nurses, it's your duty to keep your current mailing address up to date per the rules. If you do not do that, you are subject to a fine. It's not the board's duty to make sure your address is up to date. She updated several times, as I've said, but none of them seem to be the current address. All she really argued was service of process. I think I've covered that pretty well. The only other thing I'll talk about is whether or not there was substantial evidence and whether the board's decision was arbitrary or capricious. She failed to appear at her hearing, so outside arguing any service of process, that she's kind of prohibited from doing any of that. So any of the evidence, as I said already, that she's trying to introduce or attempting to introduce is irrelevant, cannot be considered. And it should be stricken from the record. And at the hearing that was held, her compliance case manager testified that she failed to comply with her 2021 order, which is why she was brought for a show cause hearing. Again, that order is not the reason we're here. We're here because she was revoked. It should be also noted that because of her failure to comply with that order, and it was put forth substantial evidence saying that she had failed to complete educational courses and did not update the board of her pending criminal matter or pay the fine. why she was brought before the panel. So by not doing all that, substantial evidence was put on to show why she should be revoked. The panel's decision wasn't arbitrary or capricious because you acted within your statutory limitations, which say that you can revoke if there is substantial evidence. So she put on nothing to review any of the claims or allegations that were brought against her. So substantial evidence was presented. It wasn't arbitrary or capricious. And for that reason, the panel of decision should be affirmed. Thank you, Your Honor.
You have 11 minutes.
Okay, so.
Ms. Dorker, you said that it's up to me and it's supposed to be to the board for me to update my addresses, correct? So I could be noticed. Here on your exhibits, it shows where my addresses were here. On Appel 21, it shows that my mailing address is 811 Forest Avenue that you guys did not notice. You said that I updated my address to a Rankin County address after the Georgia addresses. The address was updated in 2017, which then was turned into 2019 with Stockbridge, Georgia. After that, it was Mount Zion, it was McDonald, Georgia, and then Atlanta, Georgia, which were all my addresses during my stays where I was working. They were updated. You guys sent me letters to the previous address in 2023, the 464 Bishop Street in Atlanta, Georgia. So it was updated. Whoever decided that they were going to mail it to previous addresses, this is why I was not served. If I did not receive the letters because you mailed it to another address, it's not my responsibility once I give it to the board for you to update it because it's in the address. It was there for 2020, 2021. That no matter if I moved 1,000 times and I did update them, my mailing address did not change. And I was never noticed at that mailing address, which I have it in email, I have it in writing, and I have it up in my gateway that was my mailing address. Now, if I did, and I was never noticed to a show cause hearing regarding anything about anything except the 2021, which was noticed to me by email, not certified mail. I never received that certified mail, and you can't even show me in all the exhibits that you guys presented that you even gave me that. So if I had no way to receive that, to even process, because you're supposed to be 15 days prior to, for me to even go and see, I didn't get that. And I got an email, Ms. Duncan sent it to me via email, but no one sent me any of this stuff via email or via certified mail to my mailing address. I came into the office and updated this address to the last mailing address, which is where I am living now. I'm updated it in person because it seems like they were not updating my address. And if you look at it, it's in your exhibit saying that the addresses were updated and they were there. You guys just mailed it. If I updated it into Stockbridge, why would you mail it to Jackson? And it's updated on there. It was like it was a previous, every time they mailed something, they mailed it to the previous address. Never to my current addresses, and I called and repeatedly gave it to them. So no, my services, I was not noticed properly. In certified mail, it's supposed to be given to that person. I'm supposed to sign for that mail. I did not get it at all. And it's updated with the board's exhibits. It's showing that y'all sent it to the wrong address and it was unable to be delivered because I didn't live there. No one lived at those houses at that time. I was on a travel assignment, of course. It's a Airbnb, no one's there. So they can't sign for mail if they're not the person that's receiving the mail. Georgia will not leave certified mail with anyone but the person. You have to show ID for that. So if they return to sender, it's because it was not sent to the right addresses. And if I updated something in 2020, how is it that in 2023, you guys are still mailing to the wrong addresses? Every other address that was properly sent, when you guys sent me mail, I received it. If I didn't receive the mail certified, you guys still emailed me. I didn't get anything from Ms. Duncan, from Mr. Walker, Ms. Salzman, Mr. Wesley, nothing about this. And for a show cause hearing, I was never noticed of a show call hearing. Can they even show me where they noticed me to that? So yes, if I would have been here on April 11th, or if I was properly noticed, I would have been here to see where was all this stuff done at. And at the time, yes, Thomas Powell was my attorney in 2020 when I was noticed. He didn't receive it. So for my appeal, he was not representing me. He was supposed to, but after not working for almost a year, no, I did not have the money to pay him for the appeal. But at the time, when he was still on the retainer, yes, he was my attorney. He didn't receive anything from you guys. So even if you didn't mail it to me, someone was supposed to notice him.
Thank you, both for your arguments. Now I'll open, up, floor for the board. They may have questions for you related to, the issues on appeal and, limited to the record, before the board hearing panel. All right, any questions for, Mr. Walker or Ms. Palmer?
I have a question for Ms. Palmer. Where were you living on October 2nd,
Which year?
2023?
I was here in Mississippi at 4368 Willow Run.
And where were you living on January 9th, 2024?
2024, I was in 4368 Willow Run.
I was looking at the pleadings here. You filed a brief before the full board on January 9th.
Yes,
And were you made it, did you have actual knowledge of the hearing that was set? After you filed that?
for after the January filing for April.
Whenever the next hearing was set? Did you
Yes, I
have
got the one for
knowledge?
2024.
Yeah,
I got that one, yes. It's at the 4368 that was here. It was done,
you got the notice of the April hearing. How did you get that?
certified mail to the address. I had one return back to you guys because like I said, the mailman will not leave it with the person that is not addressed to. And I'm usually at UMC during the daytime because my sister's in the hospital. So I've been there since August, almost every day from 8 to 5.
Did you ever receive a notice before that point?
Yes, I've received everything that I've received. Except the one about the ASP, I've never received that, and the one about the revocation hearing. I've received everything else. Because if they tell me they're gonna send me something, usually someone emails me and say, well, we sent this out, and I'll call and make sure I got it, and I call and do a receipt. Like, it was no lack of communication. It's just when this the most important mail in the, the history of my nursing career, it was sent to a previous address.
So if I'm clear, you didn't appear before the April hearing. What was that, this week?
No, today.
That's 2023.
I'm sorry,
2023.
April 11, 2023, so a year ago.
3?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So you didn't appear to that.
That's the one I didn't get the notice to.
Because you say you didn't get notice.
Yes, now in 2020,
You filed an appeal on what, January?
Nine.
January of 24.
I did the appeal, I wanna say in May of last year, May 24th, I applied, I asked for the appeal. And then we had
January 9th, you filed brief.
the brief, yes, I did the brief, yes, for the appeal.
Yeah.
Mhm. But last year in April, I was at 811 Forest Avenue. And they said that they noticed the mail to, Georgia.
And your position is that because you didn't get, even though certified mail may have been returned and you didn't sign for it, that was not sufficient notice. That's what you think?
No, I didn't get anything, not an email, not anything. And they communicate with me.
No,
most-
but here's my question is, so apparently certified mail was sent and returned. And your position is because you didn't sign for it. The fact that it was returned,
Oh, no,
that's of no,
not of that address. If it had been sent to the 811 Forest Avenue and it was returned, I would have been fine. Because at least I would have noticed that the nursing board had sent me something. But it wasn't sent to the address at all, it was sent to a different state. Because even after certified mail, they would at least attempted 1-2 times to deliver the mail. But it was never sent to the correct address.
Your Honor, if I may, for clarification purposes, certified mail does not have to be limited to the person there. Nobody has to sign for certified mail, whether in Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, it's federal law. It's certified as long as it's sent to the address. Anybody can sign for it at the house.
It's over 18 years of age.
No, nobody had to sign for it, and it came back, was returned to the board.
Any additional response on this?
Be over 18 years of age. I didn't even have an 18-year-old child there that the postmaster would have sent that email, would have left it with. So no, I was told it had to be signed for and someone had to be 18 years old or older to get that mail. And I didn't have a child. I was 17 until April of last year. They was not gonna leave it there, but it was not sent to the correct address. That's why I did not receive it. Not because I didn't, they were mailed it to the 811, they never did. That's my only concern here, is if it was mailed to 811 Forest Avenue and it was returned, or if you got, whatever reason, I was properly noticed. I did not get any mail to that address, which has been listed as my mailing address for the last 5 to 6 years. But they mailed it to every other address they can find, except my mailing address. What's the purpose of having a mailing address if they're not gonna mail my mail there?
Any additional questions? from any-
Your Honor, one more thing. She made the statement that she came up here to change her address. You don't change your address up here. It's done through the gateway.
I did it on site to make sure it was done, showed a copy of my ID as well, because Ms. Greenlaw needed to make sure that my driver's license and my ID was in Mississippi. She wanted to make sure of that. It's in your paperwork saying that you guys had the address. It's showing address, mailing address. The address that's on your exhibits was not mailed to. Neither one of those times you're telling me you mailed it, you did not mail it to my mailing address. Did not.
Any additional argument from the parties before the board, close this hearing?
I just asked you guys if you guys would, look at the orders, look at the dates they were mailed. The addresses are right here listed on your, in the exhibits. It's showing exactly what dates they were active. And if I go back and mail something to something that was active 5 years ago, am I trying to properly mail to you? Not. If it was my paycheck or your paycheck, wouldn't you want it to the correct address if you updated your job? This is my livelihood. Of course, I'm gonna keep my addresses up to date. If my job decides to mail it somewhere else, you don't want me to have it. And the only reason I can see you not wanting me to have it is because you didn't really care about my nursing license. This is up to me, for me to have it. And if I hired an attorney to come in here and to see what I needed to do, because I knew I needed an attorney and I did that, if he wasn't noticed, if I wasn't noticed, if I didn't even get the argument on everything that was done October 9th, 2020, I didn't get it to May. Did you want me to have it? I still they never could show me where they mailed that out either. So how can you have a ASP hearing and you guys have not mailed me the original finding of the board, what the board wanted me to do? They never received, they never sent it to me. To the next year.
I do have a question. I'm looking back through. It looks like, on page 68, you said that you, if I'm reading this correctly, help me understand. You didn't receive the mail because you were in the ICU with your gravely ill sister.
That was the one from, that's what I was telling him, that they did mail one to 4368 Willow Run. My sister went to the hospital from August 7th all the way to now. She's still in ICU. So that was the only notice, and that's what I'm saying. I take it, if the mailman came and I was at the hospital and I did not receive that, that was fine. But it was never mailed to that address in April or the 811. So the addresses that were here, they didn't mail them to them. It was one Miss Sauceman ran, I think she mailed it in the first part of January. And it showed me you have a letter to pick up at the post office. And I spoke with her via email and she told me, that it had already been sent out. It was a notice of the appeal hearing. And actually they resubmit and they brought it back out.
So when the Willow,
Run.
yes. When were you there again?
From March of last year. March.
March of 23.
Yes.
Okay. And previous,
May of 23, May 24th, I'm sorry.
and previous to that,
811 Forest Avenue.
and what were the dates of 8/11?
2019, the end of 2019, that was my mailing address since then.
Okay, the end of 2019. Okay, so 2019 to 2023. Okay, but then you stated that you were at 464 Bishop Street from 2021 until May of 2023.
Where I was working, yes, my mailing address didn't change. If you look on the paper, it shows where it says the 464 Bishop, and then right behind it, let me see what page it is.
Right,
It
but
says
now you
Bishop.
said you changed it with the Board of Nursing
Mhm.
in Georgia to the Bishop Street. But you're saying that you wanted the board to mail it to your
No.
Willow? What, I'm confused.
Here it is, hold on, let me get to the page so I can make sure I show it. The mailing address should have never changed. They said they mailed it to the addresses. My mailing address didn't change. It's on each one of these correspondence as mailing address is this and home address is that. Each one of them. It is 4. Here it is, right here. Number 20, appeal 21, it says primary address and mailing address. It's here.
Can I just kind of follow up
Go ahead.
for further clarification? Now, it says you updated your address sometime. Well, when did you live in Brandon?
In 2017. Look, it shows the address is here. It says my first address in 2011 was 3175 Robinson. Then 2012, it went to 2105 River Oaks, Brooklyn Street, Winfield Street, 274 Lighthouse, 3110 Mount Zion. That was until right when COVID happened. I called you guys, updated it to 610. I also updated it in the Gateway. And my mailing address is still 811 Forest Avenue.
I'm looking at on page 6 here of the brief. It says accordingly, the board, because the board was unable to serve appellants appellant via certified mail, the hearing was scheduled for April 11, 2023. The service process was perfected through publication, so forth. Then it says, as appellant had updated her address in the board's gateway to reflect the primary address of 274 Lighthouse Lane. Reading that, that gives me the impression that that was discovered sometime in 2023. Is that not correct?
Yes, so we only get the addresses that they put in. So we tried certified mail to the ones that were listed. It kept changing repeatedly.
Right. I'm trying to square that with having a 2017 address in Brandon with that.
I can't speak to her 2017 address. All I can speak to is what she updates in her gateway.
Okay.
So you can change it back to one that you had in 2017. It doesn't. That makes sense. But it's literally just updated. So when we couldn't serve her, we published her twice, both in Rankin and Hines, because it changed to both of them.
It never changed to Rankin County. The Rankin County address is listed here. On MSBN 7, Appeal 24. It shows every address I've had. Now, it also says that it was updated in 2017, 12/29, 2020, 2017. It shows the board updated, the next address was updated 3110 Mount Zion, 2019, but it said the board didn't update it to 2021, 2 years later. At that point, you guys had already had my mail, everything that I have or is mail has been updated with the board. Each year I've been a nurse, if I've changed address, I've updated it. I don't know how they went from 811 Forest Avenue back to 274 Lighthouse Lane or to Winfield Street or wherever they mail the mail to, if it's already updated in the board's gateway and via email with my compliant officer and everything else, I updated my address for that reason, so we wouldn't have a problem with not receiving these communications.
Any additional questions from the board?
I have one, Ms. Palmer. So is your testimony today that every time that you changed your mailing, your address in the gateway, that 811 Forest Avenue never changed?
Until it was to the 4368 Willow Run.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Updated to the 4368 Willow Run as the mailing.
Okay, and when was that done?
That was in May of 2024, May 24th of 24.
24?
I mean, 23, I'm sorry.
So, not there.
You're not there.
May of 2023, but other than that, that is the address that has remained constant. The primary address is the one that has changed.
Yes, ma'am, that was my mom's address. She just moved to Georgia in May.
Nothing further.
Additional questions? Anything else from the callers? Anything else from the callers before we conclude this hearing? We'll conclude the hearing, in case number 2022-1091. At this time, I'll entertain a motion from the board to go into closed session to determine whether grounds exist to go into executive session. Case number 2022-1091.
Make a motion to close determination session to determine if executive session is needed in state case.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Hearing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion from the board to actually go into executive session to deliberate on this case.
We'll make a motion to go into executive session for deliberation from state case.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? The board is now in executive session and will return with its decision. Now.
Just want to be sure.
And in 3 weeks, I will be in new roads. We'll see. I haven't signed up yet, 'cause I'm scared. Dirt. That's right. I'm too.
We are back on the record, and I will announce the board's decision. First, I'll ask the board to state their names for the record.
Nancy Norris Johnson.
Dr. Renee Dockley.
Janie Clinton,
Melissa King.
Lacey Gentry, Janelle Moody.
Harley Walker.
Alvino Castillo.
All right, so now I'll announce, any appeal involving the licensee, Ms. Shaleria Palmer, case number 2022-1091. The board voted to overturn the decision of the board hearing panel revoking Ms. Palmer's license in 2023.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Approved, the hearing in case number 2022-1091. And also concludes the docket for the April hearings. Thank you all for your service.